Hi, welcome to Bringing the Zoo to You. I'm Bill and I'm one of the animal care specialists here at Brookfield Zoo, and I'm going to talk for a few minutes about my Bactrian camels, Christina and Ray Ray. Christina and Ray Ray are grandmother and granddaughter. Christina was born in Milwaukee. She will be 15 on the 14th of this month, and Ray Ray will be 7 next month. Bactrian camels come from the Gobi Desert region of Mongolia and northern China, where it's a cold weather desert. It gets well below zero during the winter, and that's why the camels have these thick winter coats, and they're in the process of starting to shed their winter coats, and they'll have a summer coat for about 6 to 8 weeks, and then they'll start growing in the new coat. We actually help the camels shed and collect the fur and give it to some of the other animals here at the zoo for enrichment.
What do they do with that fur?
Some like to lay in it because it's really soft, and some move it around their enclosure because it's really stinky, like camels. Camels have some adaptations for surviving in the desert. One is, as you know, they can go a long time without eating or drinking, and that's what the humps are for. They store fat in their humps, not actually water. And if they go a few days without food or water, they can actually break down that fat. It provides energy.
How much do they weigh?
We weigh the camels about 4 times a year, and they're both about 750 kilograms, which comes out to about 1,700 pounds, which is about 10 of me.
And how tall do they get?
They can get 7 to 8 feet tall at the tips of their humps.
What are you feeding them?
I am feeding them carrots and sweet potatoes, some leafy greens. I've got some nuggets that are for plant-eating animals, and we use these when we are training the animals. When I'm trying to weigh the animals, we'll set a platform up, and I'll use these to encourage them to come over to me and step on the platform. I also, when they need to get some medicine, I can hide their medicine in the carrots and sweet potatoes.
What do they feel like? Are they soft?
Yes, they're very soft. Chris is more tactile than Ray Ray is, but Ray Ray's getting a little bit better at it, a little bit more comfortable.
Do they spit?
Yes, it's a form of communication. They're letting others around them know that they are annoyed. So if they spit at me, I have to determine what I am doing and stop doing it so that they don't continue to spit at me. That was just a little spit because I stopped feeding them. The nice thing about the spit is that it comes before a bite or a kick. So it's a communication device, and if I pay attention to their communication, I will not get bit or kicked, which I have not.
What do they eat as part of their normal diet every day?
Their normal diet is about a pound of carrots, a pound of sweet potatoes, a pound of leafy greens, 1.5 to 2 pounds of a special pelleted diet for plant-eating animals, and then they also get about 20 pounds of hay.
Do they ever eat grass?
They nibble on grass. They will eat it. They don't eat it as much as the other plant-eating animals. That's why there's still grass in their exhibit.
How long are camels pregnant?
Camels are pregnant for 12 to 14 months.
How big is their baby when it's first born?
I would say about the size of a German Shepherd. Sorry. That's a vocalization. Ray Ray was saying, feed me.
Do they run?
Yes. They're an ungangly running animal, and they don't often run, but when they do, they can go about 40 miles an hour.
What color are their eyes?
Brown.
Are they trained at all?
Yes. Christina is halter trained, and we can put a lead on her and hold her steady for blood draws and x-rays. And we also can exercise Christina by putting a lead on her and walking her around the exhibit. We haven't gotten to that point with Ray Ray yet.
Can you remind us what their names are and how old they are?
Sure. Christina is on the left, and she is going to be 15 on the 14th of this month. And Ray Ray, her granddaughter, is going to be 7 next month.
So do they get along?
Yes. However, occasionally Ray Ray will annoy her grandmother, and they'll kind of cuff like that at each other.
I know sometimes when I go by I see them kind of snuggling together.
Yeah. Often they do like to curl up next to each other.
How much do they drink at one time?
If they've gone a long time without drinking, they can drink up to 30 gallons. But we have automatic waterers here, so they can constantly have access to water, so they don't consume that much in one set here.
Do they ever get a bath?
Only when it rains.
So what kind of adaptations do they have on their feet for living in the desert?
Their feet are very large, round, and padded.
Do they have to ever get their hooves trimmed?
Very rarely do we trim their nails.
Yeah. Do they have hooves? Do we call them hooves or nails?
Nails.
Okay. What do their humps feel like?
Solid fat, as opposed to my squishy fat.
How long do they live?
They can live 20 to 40 years depending on the individual.
Who's Ray Ray's mom?
Ray Ray's mom actually lives in Ohio at a facility called The Wilds. Her dad was actually born here at Brookfield in 2008, and that's where Ray Ray was born.
Do you have to brush their fur?
Only when they're shedding. We will go in there with a pet comb and help them shedding the fur, especially between the humps and where it's more difficult for them to rub.
So what are you doing right now?
Right now I'm letting them chew on a browse branch. We collect these around the zoo when our grounds department is trimming the trees, and also Tom Ed during the summer drops off browse when they're trimming around the power lines.
I know when we give animals browse for enrichment, they usually strip off all the leaves. And it looks like, in addition to that, the girls are stripping off the bark.
Yes.
What kind of benefit does that have for them?
It increases the fiber in their diet, and they are actually, you can see Christina is using her molars to really loosen up the bark, and then she'll use her front lower teeth, and her front on the top is just a hard palate. She uses that and her split upper lip to peel off the bark from the branch.
Does that help then with her keeping her teeth healthy too?
Yes.
So what's your favorite thing about working with the camels?
The favorite thing, I really enjoy their personalities. I enjoy it. Hey,
She's stealing it from you.
excuse me while I pay attention to the animal. Uh, they're just fun. They're interactive. They're lazy. They're stubborn. They're just comical to work with. And they're hardy. They're hardy animals. We work outside year-round with them. They can survive sub-zero weather, which makes it uncomfortable sometimes when I have to work during the winter outside with them, for me. But they're just really both great individuals.
What's their favorite treats?
Their favorite treats are probably browse branches and the herbivore nuggets.
So when they shed, how much of this fur or hair will they be shedding?
All the long stuff. Sorry about that. Their skin will look very smooth because it's just the guard hairs that are left.
And about how long does it take for them to shed?
Oh, if we didn't assist them, it would take them at least a month.
How big are their humps?
Their humps are probably about 2.5 feet tall. And that's also one of the ways you can tell the difference between Christina and Ray Ray. Christina has more space between her humps, kind of like the letter K, whereas Ray Ray's humps are a little bit closer together.
Are camels endangered?
Yes, actually they're very endangered. Pure wild Bactrian camels, there's maybe 1,000 of them left in the wild. Most of the camels that you see in captivity are a domesticated version, and they were actually in 2008 determined to be almost a separate species.
If they're desert animals, how can they handle the cold in Chicago?
The Gobi Desert is a cold weather desert. So people often think of just brutal sun beating down in the desert, but in the Gobi it can get down to negative 40 degrees.
Oh, here's a question I haven't seen before. Can you use their hair to make anything, just like people use alpaca?
Oh yeah, it's extremely warm, and we used to have volunteers in the old children's zoo that would spin the wool and then make hot hat holders out of them. I've talked to people that have had camel hair sweaters that they say are extremely comfortable.
Does their diet change with the season?
No, their diet doesn't change with the season, but it does change according to their weight. We do have a nutritionist here at the zoo, and every time we weigh the camels, we let her know what their weight is, and then she'll adjust the diet appropriately if they're above or below their weight range that we would like them to be in. Christina has a tendency to be heavy sometimes, so we actually separate the two of them when we feed them to make sure that she doesn't steal Ray Ray's food.
What animals are they related to?
They're related to llamas and alpacas.
Can you explain what browse is a little bit more? Why do we call this stick browse?
Browse is just branches and plant material that we give to the animals.
So it's different from, there's browsers and then there's grazers.
Right.
So,
right. Grazers are more grass-eating animals. Browsers eat more of the leaves and twigs.
At what age do they have their first baby?
Oh, they can have it somewhere between 2 and 5 years of age.
And how big can they get?
Christina's a good size for how big they can get, so around 1,800 pounds.
So it looks like they're using their lips quite a bit to help with peeling off this bark. So, what advantage does that have for them? And
The split upper lip actually helps them grab twigs, and as you noticed, they can grab the bark strips. They can grab twigs and pull branches down to them.
what's their eyesight like?
It's extremely good. I've heard that they can see up to 2 miles away.
Are any of their other senses really, really good too?
They're supposed to have a very good sense of hearing.
Oh, their ears are kind of hard to see. Can you point them out a little bit?
Sure. Right, Chris? There's her ears right there.
Where do we get the browse from?
We get it from our grounds department trimming the trees around here at the zoo, and then also we get it from ComEd when they're trimming around power lines. All right, well, thank you very much. I appreciate you spending some time with me today. I also wanted to thank everyone that supported the zoo yesterday on Giving Tuesday. And finally, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Thanks a lot.